Halloween night was supposed to be full of laughter. It was supposed to be candy and costumes, porch lights and pumpkins. For David and Caroline Miller, it began that way. They stood at their front door, smiling as their children, Sarah, just 11, and Matthew, only 8, ran down the street in their costumes. Sarah was a witch, her hat too big for her head. Matthew was a pirate, swinging a plastic sword like he was the hero of his own adventure. Caroline called out, "Don't go too far. Be back in an hour." And the children waved, already dashing toward their first stop. The parents never imagined it would be the last time they saw them. As the October night grew colder, the neighborhood bustled with excitement. Children laughed and shouted as they darted from one porch to the next. But by 9:30, the streets had thinned out. Porch lights began to flicker off. The voices grew fewer. And still, Sarah and Matthew hadn't returned home. At first, David and Caroline told themselves it was nothing. Maybe they had stopped at a friend's house. Maybe they were trading candy. But as the minutes dragged into an hour, unease began to coil in their stomachs. When 10 o'clock struck, Caroline slipped on her coat. David grabbed a flashlight. Together, they stepped into the night, calling their children's names. The neighbors joined in quickly. Fairview, Illinois, was a small town, and news spread fast. People left their homes, flashlights cutting through the dark as they searched yards and alleys. Police arrived before midnight, turning the night of celebration into one of panic. The first clue appeared 2 blocks from the Miller home. Sarah's candy bag, dropped on the sidewalk, half filled with sweets. The sight of it sent a chill through Caroline's chest. Matthew's bag was never found. Helicopters flew overhead. Dogs sniffed through the woods. Dozens of volunteers combed through fields and ditches. Yet there was nothing else. No footprints. No discarded costumes. No sound. It was as if Sarah and Matthew had been erased. In the days that followed, rumors spread through Fairview like wildfire. Some swore they had seen a white van circling the neighborhood earlier that night. Others whispered about screams near the woods. But there was no proof. No witnesses. Just silence. Fairview was never the same again. Parents no longer let their children roam the streets on Halloween. Porch lights went dark. The Millers, trapped in their grief, left their children's rooms untouched. Sarah's witch hat still sat on her desk. Matthew's toy sword leaned against the wall, waiting. Every Halloween, David and Caroline left their porch light burning, hoping for a knock that never came. 10 years passed. The case grew cold. Leads dried up. Police chased theories. An ex-convict passing through town. A drifter arrested 2 counties away. Even a neighbor who moved suddenly after the disappearances. Each time, hope rose, only to collapse when nothing came of it. By 2020, 17 years had gone by. The Millers had moved away, unable to bear the ghost of their home. Fairview had aged. New families moved in. The town tried to move on. But in the autumn of that year, the wound was ripped open again. It began when an old house, just 4 blocks from where the Millers had lived, was sold to a new owner. The home had belonged to Robert Jenkins, a reclusive man who had lived there alone for decades until his death in 2019. Neighbors described him as strange but harmless. He had no criminal record, no history of violence, just a quiet, solitary man who rarely spoke. While clearing out the attic, the new owner discovered something hidden behind a false wall. A crawl space, dusty and small. Inside were 2 costumes. One was a black witch's dress. The other, a pirate outfit. Both folded neatly, almost carefully, as if someone had preserved them. On the inside tags, the names were written in faded marker: Sarah Miller, Matthew Miller. Investigators confirmed it. These were the very costumes the siblings wore the night they disappeared. 17 years. And they had been hidden in an attic, only 4 blocks away from their home. But the costumes offered no answers, only more questions. They were strangely clean, untouched by dust, as though someone had placed them there recently. No DNA was found on them. No blood. No evidence of the children themselves. Just two costumes frozen in time. The discovery shook the town. How could the house not have been searched? How could the children vanish? Only for their costumes to resurface in the attic of a neighbor everyone thought they knew. With Jenkins dead, the truth may never come out. Was he responsible for the children's disappearance? Did he keep their costumes as trophies, a chilling reminder of what he had done? Or was someone else involved, someone who had used Jenkins' attic to hide the evidence? For David and Caroline, the discovery was not closure. It was torment. "It's like we lost them all over again," Caroline said. "To know their costumes were so close and we never knew." Fairview remembers the Miller children every Halloween. Some families still leave their porch lights on. A silent vigil for the night that took them. Yet the questions linger like ghosts. Two children vanished into the dark. Their costumes returned. But Sarah and Matthew themselves remain lost. And that is the cruelest part of the story. Sometimes, the only thing left behind are reminders, folded neatly, waiting in silence, while the truth stays buried in the shadows forever.